Okay, Potters, I'm going to show you how to silk screen underglaze on paper and then transfer it to pots. Now, I will say this screen I made, the brand is called EZ Screen, so a letter E and then a Z screen. We don't have these in the studio, but you could order them. What you do is you print out something in black and white, and then you go through this process and it transfers it to the screen, and then you can use it to underglaze on paper, and then you transfer it onto the pot. So let me show you how it works. And it does, like everything else, take some refinement. I've already done one here. You can see that it's kind of blurry in places, but I should get some better prints as I keep practicing. I've mixed up enough color to do lots of prints because I can print a lot, save them for a year, and just keep using them. So you can like spend a whole day printing and then have enough prints for a long time. So I'm gonna take some of the material. Oh, let me back up here. So I mixed up my own color. I did add some of the silkscreen medium in so that this underglaze is a little bit thicker. I didn't want it to be the peanut butter consistency like I described in the other video with the small screens, so it's a little more wet. Okay, so I'm just gonna take some of this out. I actually just hold this with my hand. I'm trying to like lay a line down here and have it be somewhat even. And then this is called a squeegee. So I'm holding this with my hand. My paper's taped down. And I'm gonna squeeze that, just like that. Sometimes you have to go over it a couple times. That looks like it's a pretty good run. So let's see. So again, I'm getting a little blurry down here on the feathers and this weird crease here, so I will keep practicing that. Okay, so another option, besides for making your own, is you can actually buy pre-made underglaze transfers. They're from China. They're pretty reasonable, and they come in all different types of colors and patterns. So if you don't want to make your own, you are welcome to go and check that out online. Okay, so on these, I noticed I was getting this like weird crease, right? And I've done all of these and all of these. And then I think I finally figured out how to get rid of that crease. So I'm gonna show you that right now. Okay, so here we go. So I have my line of underglaze up here. I'm holding it here. I'm gonna do a swipe going down and then a swipe going kind of like that to get rid of that crease. So let's see if that works. So it's okay. So it works down here, but not here. So I'll just keep working on it and refining it. Okay, so what the difference was is on these, I just have a piece of tape on the top and the bottom. And then on these, I have a piece of tape on each side. And then I did a swipe down and kind of a rainbow swipe, which minimizes the crease. There you go. So Potters, after all the prints dry, you can see they're kind of wrinkly. So what I do is stack them up, and then I'll put some art history books, of course, on top to flatten them out. It just makes transferring it a little easier if they're flat. Okay, so here's my silk screen. It's dry, it's somewhat flat, and I'm going to transfer it onto this cake stand. I'm already at a wheel, so I'm not moving, but you do not need to be at a wheel for this. It just happens to be where I am. I am going to spritz. I'm going to go get a new water bottle. Oh, no, there we go.
And I don't know how to use it.
So I want it to be a fine mist. The finer the better, okay? So I'm just gonna mist that super lightly.
We're done.
Let it dry a smidge. And then I'm gonna figure out where I want to transfer this. I'm gonna lay it there. Putting that little spritz kind of helps put this in place. And then I'm really gonna spritz the rest of it. I'm working from the middle and kind of smoothing it out. And what's gonna happen is by wetting the back of this, so the underglaze side is down. By wetting the back, it releases the underglaze. So then I'm gonna take a rib. I like using the credit cards because they're flat. And I'm just going to carefully start rubbing this. I'm not scratching it, I'm rubbing it to help that transfer happen. Trying not to get wrinkles going from the inside out.
Yeah, you better back off.
We can kind of peek here to see if it's working. It's working. It's not quite there yet, so I'm gonna do it a little bit more. There's some ridges on this that's making it a little bit more difficult to transfer. So I'm hoping with my finger I can push, get in between those ridges. All right, let's give this a shot. And just find an area and slowly pull it off. It's not a great transfer because of these ridges I had. It should be a little bit cleaner, but I think I'll clean this up, maybe do some carving and make it look a little bit better. There you go. All right. Okay, so here is another transfer. I've cut it to fit the design of my pot. I've also cut around here to get a different shape. I mean, the possibilities are endless. This pot, I looked for a side that doesn't have any nicks or minimal nicks. And this pot is a little bit wetter than the previous pot, so I'm actually not gonna spritz that. I'm gonna line this up where I want it. It'd be nice if I had a towel on my lap, but whatever. So spritzing, wiping. At this point, I'm really just trying to get it to stick to the pot. These pots, this has not been bisqued, so it's in greenware form. All right, so everything is stuck. I'm just gonna kind of start rubbing it with my fingers. Oop, that's not good, so be careful there on the edges. I'm going to take this again. I'm curving it towards the pot. You really got to pay attention to where you've pressed and where you haven't. And again, everything takes practice and refinement. The cool thing about pottery is that you can show refinement pretty quickly if you practice. Let's see what we got here. So I'm just kind of like, it's not coming off yet. I'm gonna spray it again, rub it some more. careful of those edges. So don't rip them off. Sometimes you can even go like this and rub it. All right, let's give this one a shot. You could use a needle tool to get this off also. And I actually kind of like this worn look. So I just kind of embrace it. But there you go. So I'm going to, that's not too bad. I wish I could have I should have rubbed a little bit more here. I'm gonna do another transfer here and I'll show you what it looks like in the end. So this is what it turned out with. I have some blemishes here, but I am going to kind of clean it up, work with it, and see what I come up with. Okay, so these pre-made ones from China are much thinner, and this acts more like an ink rather than underglaze like we know. So you actually, like, my underglaze is not totally dry, but it's not coming off on my fingers. I'm putting this up here and kind of getting it in place, and then I'm gonna take a damp sponge and I'm not gonna rub it. I'm just gonna make this motion. On the previous one I did right here, I rubbed it and you can tell it kind of got smeary and messed up. So I'm gonna take a few minutes to do this and then I'll show you what it looks like in the end. So this is what it looks like with just dabbing that ink on. So much cleaner, much more crisp. I gotta say, these are pretty nifty. So there you go.